us similar offices. This is somewhere in between the OSTP and the NSF. Actually, none of them are equivalent to what we do, but we would be somewhere in between, let's say. Some of our functions and responsibilities, one of them is very important, the international activity. First of all, and this is the most important, is the EU integration of Hungarian startups, entrepreneurs, research. There are several channels, very significant sources, and we have to use that very efficiently, both the ones that are designated to Hungary and also the ones where we have to be competitive to get funding from programs in Brussels, like the new framework program called Horizon 20. It's a huge and important resource, not just the amount of money, but also the amount of cooperation that can stem from these funds. And international cooperation is also very important on bilateral level, and this is also the task of our office, to build bilateral agreements, and we want to move from let's say, the usual or existing agreements which base more on researcher exchange, personal mobility, to R&D-based cooperation and joint projects between companies. This is what we would like to shift to. And obviously, our office is also one of those who would like to help companies, startups, SMEs in developing their own innovation capabilities. We have set up a number of services, and we do also a lot of say, propaganda for the goals, what I have just described. So regarding entrepreneurship, regarding changing mindsets, what is all connected with innovation. So this is basically the main task of our office. We have some more other important, but I don't want to go into too much detail. So I would just like to thank you for your attention.
Are there any questions? Did you be able to make available your presentation, everybody? By email?
By email, definitely not, because unfortunately this was also done in Prezi, and unfortunately this is a huge file. What we can do is to put it on the website, and you can download it. It's for email, it's too big.
So any questions, please?
Hi, I'm Melinda Byerly. I'm a general manager and marketer here in Silicon Valley. You mentioned the government and the private investment in the technology companies, and they took about up to 24% of equity. I'm curious how the voting works. Who makes the decision when it comes to the hard decisions? Who represents the shares?
First of all, I just want to make it clear, it's not the government who has the share, right? It's the private accelerator who can have this up to 24% share, which is partly based on actual investment in financial investment, plus the complete package and services what such an incubator has to offer the portfolio companies, and it's an agreement actually about the percentage. Now, this 24% is actually smaller than the minimum percentage that is required, for example, according to Hungarian and some other company laws, to block decisions. For that, you need 25 plus 1. This is a little bit less than that, but we still feel that this is a good balance of exercising an important voting right and still not overtaking the company and the responsibility of the original owners. So regarding regarding the decisions, yes, this is I would say a delicate balancing situation, but from my experience and also the international experience is that with the selection and the screening process, you have to see to that you accept only companies where you have, as an incubator, I'm not talking from the point of view of the accelerator, where you are confident that you can work with them. I personally, and from my experience, I used to be an entrepreneur before I started in government service. So my experience is that if something is really decided by voting, then it's too bad. So you don't want to get to that point where crucial issues are really defined by voting. It's better to prevent, and that's why actually we are looking for these accelerators, incubators, people as investors and mentors and board members who have international experience. So this that we have shown that here, it's also kind of an open call for anyone who has some interest in doing something like that in Hungary. We would like to encourage everyone. We believe that these are very favorable conditions, and then you can apply your experiences in a place where there is a lot of talent, but maybe less experience in how to manage and run successfully startup companies.
Hello, my name is Magdalena Roche-Johansson. I used to be Director of Liaison of National Office for Research and Technology. Long time ago, I used to work in the Hungarian Parliament between 2001 and 2008.
Sorry, I couldn't.
Liaison of Director of Liaison for National Office of Research and Technology. It's probably was the previous name of
Yes.
of Office for Innovation or
Yes,
something
yes,
like
yes.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I got married to my husband 5 years ago, and I spent my last 5 years in the United States. But earlier we were also thinking about this process of financing the project in Hungary, research, how you are doing it now. And my only question is, what was not clear for me, that when you are financing them and then the government stays an owner of the project, or do they get back some money after that, or you just spend the taxpayers' money and nothing is coming back to?
No, actually it's a grant.
Yep.
It's a grant. You don't have to repay. This is, for example, more favorable than in some other countries. With a reason, we feel that we have to create favorable conditions to make a good start. But the government stays out. This is a very important concept. So the government stays out from the decision making, and stays out also from the ownership. We don't think that the government should be owner in startup companies. The government has other things to do and not managing companies, especially not startups. So.
Yeah, but
Did
wouldn't it be?
Answer your question?
Yeah, it answered to my question. My thought is that wouldn't it be good for the whole nation if they would profit something from those successful technologies or companies?
Well,
didn't you think about it?
Yeah, the government is spending money because we believe that this is good for the whole nation. We believe that this is not just good for the accelerators and the startups, but we believe that this creates, and this is part of the strategy, that this creates companies that will be fast-growing companies in an industry where the added value is high. So a person in these industries can add to the GDP 10 or even 100 times as much as, let's say, with manual labor, low-cost manual labor. So we believe that this creates also workplaces, creates employment, but it's even more important that this is a different kind of employment. This is an employment that generates a lot of GDP and that generates wealth not only to the founders and the owners, but the whole society. And large companies can grow out of that. And yeah, we know that in this industry sometimes companies move some of their operation overseas. We have seen with these success stories that were mentioned here, Prezi, the presentation company, or LogMeIn, or Ustream, they have all moved their headquarters and sales and marketing to the US. But they have the developers back in Hungary. LogMeIn, the one that is on NASDAQ, they have 250 developers in Hungary. And these 250 software developers create a lot of GDP in Hungary. They are not, let's say, at minimal wage employees, so that's important. And from a business point of view, it might be important to move headquarters, sales and marketing to the US, but the main part, which is R&D in these companies, can and hopefully will stay in Hungary.
You've adopted in Hungary a very classic model of economic development, and it's something actually, I don't just represent the San Mateo County Economic Development Agency. I'm an elected former mayor in Redwood City, and I'm currently on the council. And when you talk about taxpayer funds, we invest quite a bit of money in economic development, just like you explained. So we have an economic development director. We help companies set up, and the whole rationale is that they set up and they create wealth in the environment that they're in. And it happens to be the new buzzword in San Mateo County. 20 different cities, all of them are talking about economic development. But we get that taxpayer question probably almost every day, if not twice a day. And it relates to exactly what you said in GDP. So.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Frank Baconi. I'm the President and CEO of Live Laser Solutions in Santa Clara. We are basically tied with the chip manufacturing industry very closely. This company has been running for 15 years under this name and the previous 20 under a different name. My question for you is this, what is the legal tie? Do we have to establish a Hungarian corporation over there, or
Yes.
would it be part of the existing, let's say, California US corporation, or what are the small things on that one? That's much one question.
Yeah.
And the other question was that are the qualification requirements pretty broad, or have any information on that?
Excuse me.
The qualification requirements.
Yes.
So I'll give it a more.
Yeah. I will say a few words about that. And well, for those of you who know Hungarian, it's already on the website. I will put on the board where you can download it from. And hopefully within a few days there will be an English translation. And we have quite a long deadline, so the end of October is the final deadline. So you can prepare. But I'm going to answer your questions. Yes, you have to establish a Hungarian company, a corporate registered under Hungarian law. Number one. Number two, the requirements for successful, hopefully, we don't know how many will apply and with what qualifications, but let's say ideally, and that's also in the criteria, we prefer those who have international and or Hungarian experience in early stage investment, in R&D, project management, in SME management, that these let's say this knowledge and experience is an important factor are important factors in the decision making process.
I'm Buda Peter. I have a daily job and beside it I have a small design agency. The question is that impressive figures and great plans, I like what I'm hearing, but we both were talking only about Budapest. So what's happening in the countryside? We have great universities cities, just would like to hear what's happening there. You brought up the Finnish example. Through my family, I'm half Finnish, so what I see there, more startups on the countryside, and spread very nicely. So Helsinki is just a hub, but what's happening in terms of percentages among startups, it's mainly the countryside. Any comment?
I remember, well, neither Professor Chefov nor myself, we were not talking about only Budapest. Maybe Budapest was mentioned once in the film that it's becoming an important startup hub, which is true. But otherwise, this all applies to Hungary. So there is no restriction. The other way around. Actually, there are more funds available outside of Budapest. So EU funds, for example, are very restricted in what's called the central region of Hungary, which is Budapest and Pest County, for those who know a little bit of geography, which is like about 3.5 million people, and the rest, 6.5 million people, live in areas where actually much more EU funding is available. And these programs are obviously open to every region. Sometimes the problem is that we have less funding available in a region which still produces, let's say, 60% of Hungarian R&D, and we often have a problem how to manage that from EU funding point of view. But no, you are right. We have excellent centers in Debrecen, in Szeged, in Pécs. Győr is now becoming also, from a higher education point of view, an important center. So no, these regions are absolutely within the scope of all these programs.
Yeah, just one point